Hello guys, Brandon Carey here, and today we are going to play something a little bit different. Um, we've done a couple of roguelikes on this channel before. We've done Hades, we've done Monster Train, Slay the Spire, and I want to do this one that I've been playing a little bit on and off since I got my PS5. It's a game called Returnal, which is made by, I believe it's Housemarque Studios. A pretty small, like a small indie team, if memory serves, but they are getting funded by Sony to make this exclusive to PS5. I think this is probably one of the coolest parts of the game, is that it just kind of cold opens. Like, this is how a run starts. You just, like, the game doesn't do an opening title screen. You just get thrown straight into it. This is the beginning of a run. Like, you saw I launched it from the PS5 directly, and there is very little loading that actually occurs before the game is just right out the gate, just ready to get started. We are doing this. We are doing this now. And that is probably one of the cooler aspects of the game. See, like, what my camera does hide the minimap, but that shouldn't be. Actually, let me move this there, because that should be a little less of an issue. And now you can see the minimap and my my currencies. I have gotten the perfect ending of this game. I've gotten the full ending as of literally this morning. No, last night. But for the purpose of this run, we're going to start at the first zone. There are basically two different types of runs you can make, where you go from where you begin by doing zones 1, 2, and 3. And once you beat that run, you begin another run that's of zones 4, 5, and 6. And once you get the end of zone 6, that's when you've officially beaten the game. And then you can get the true ending after that. But to keep spoilers at a minimum, in case I do end up somehow winning this run, which seems unlikely, we will avoid going into zones 4, 5, and 6 if we can. So, as you can see, I am Celine. We just crashed onto this planet named Atropos, after the Greek, one of the three Morai sisters of Greek myth. You might know them as the Fates. Celine also being the goddess of the moon in Greek mythology, and our ship is named Helios. There's a very Greek myth theme, or iconography going on here, where a lot of the powers we get are also named after Greek mythological figures. Like, if I go into my permanent upgrades, because you get these as you go through runs. Promethean insulators give me immunity against extreme elements. Delphic visor, Delphine is a Greek figure. Hodl, ballasts, Hodl referring to Hades. Icarian, Atropian, Hermetic as in Hermes. Oh, believe it or not, the word Hermetic is a reference to the Greek god Hermes, because he was kind of also the god of mysticism. The Egyptians referred to the same god as Thoth, which is why Thoth is often referred to as Hermes Trismegistus by the Greeks. So there's like this Greek iconography being used in the naming conventions of a lot of the things we are interacting with. I don't know if that's particularly relevant. It's just very interesting theming. Even a lot of the bosses that I don't know if we'll actually see any, because once you beat a boss in a zone in this game, on all future runs, that boss, aside from the final boss of each run, the boss of zones 3 and 6, they are optional. So we actually don't have to fight them, so you might not even see the bosses at all as we do this, which is fine because they're fine. They're not particularly great boss designs, although they're pretty easy once you get the hang of the mechanics and get a good run going. There's a couple of things that I find interesting about this game. I overall like it, even though, kind of a spoiler, the big takeaway of this game, it's, it was that, after playing a lot of Hades last year and the year before, it's becoming difficult to tolerate a lot of the things that I used to tolerate about roguelike games. And just like there's no big cardinal sin that Returnal makes. This is a very competent, very well-made roguelike that I have enjoyed going through. But there's a lot of like minor things that as I began doing multiple runs, I started to feel their absence. And some of that I won't be able to show off, so I can probably just talk about it. One of the things that Hades did well is making death, or making the loss of a run not feel like a bad thing. Because even when you lost a run, you still gained something that was like a piece of story, or like another aspect of a relationship with another one of your the characters in the game. So even though you died, you would be able to spend that time in the House of Hades just getting to know somebody, and that was something to look forward to. So when you died, it wasn't like a huge loss. Whereas here, there's not a whole lot you gain from death. A lot that you lose, not a whole lot you gain. Like, death is something that you do kind of, like, dread. Especially once you've had, like, a very long run. Because runs in this game can take, in a particularly, like, successful run, can be about 2 or 3 hours. This is why we started, like, a little bit early. Because a run in this game can be kind of long. We probably won't even finish a single run of this game. Even if we get to the end level, we might not even finish a run in the time for the stream. And as you can see, that was a room where I have this resource on the top, on the bottom right. The top number is referred to as ether. I can store 30 of a time, and that's a permanent resource that can be brought with me between runs. If I spend 6 of it here, basically I can resurrect in the current run instead of starting over on death. I'm not going to do that because this is the first zone, and if I die in the first zone, I probably screw up the run anyway. But that is a choice you can make, and I think there is one per zone. So like as you're getting into like zones 2 and 3, that starts to become actually worth considering. And as you might also have seen by now, this game has the game calls it overloading the weapon. What it basically is an active reload mechanic, where once I run out of bullets, and I am not doing great right now, this is a pretty bad start to a run. Once I run out of bullets, you see if I hit the R2 button at the right time, I can automatically reload the clip, and it's a little bit faster than it would be if I had waited. See, I just botched that basic reload, and that feeds into the adrenaline system, which is another one of the core aspects of the game. Which is basically, it's kind of like kill streaks, where you get rewards for defeating 3 enemies without dying. And those stack up to 5. So up until the 15th enemy, like, you are getting rewards for keeping that streak going. First one is the increased window of a successful active reload. So you see now that I have adrenaline level 1, when this clip empties, the window is wider for a reload. And hopefully we can demonstrate see, in level 2 is enhanced vision, which honestly, vision is not a thing that I actually use very much in the game. I'm actually not sure what its purpose is for, because the minimap ends up working just fine more often than not, if not better than that vision mode. Rank 3 increases the damage of your melee attacks, which you don't actually start with melee attacks. You have to earn the right to make melee attacks by getting the power-up. Rank 4 increases my proficiency gain, which is that gauge in the bottom left. I'll explain that as we get around to it. It's a cool thing to have. And rank 5 increases the oblights, which are basically the mid-run currency. Oblights drop from enemies. You have to pick them up. And they are used to spend at the store that you will find in the middle of the run, among other things. Which is pretty typical of a roguelike. There's not a huge... That's not something surprising for a lot of people. Pick up this cube so we can... these cubes are 18 of them in the game. I think I have like 9... either 6 or 9, I'm not entirely sure. Currently unlocked. And each level has a device that you insert this cube into to permanently unlock a new artifact for all future runs. That can spawn in. Let me see, there is... Okay, yes, here we can put this open, get this Silphium. And honestly, Silphium... so the way health pickups in this game work is, if you aren't at max health, a health pickup will automatically restore a fraction of your health when you pick it up. But if you are at max health, you pick up a health pickup, you get what's called a resin. You see next to my health cage there are 3 bars that are 2 of them are filled up because I have 2 resin currently. Once you get to 3, your maximum hit points for a run go up. So you are incentivized to avoid taking hits, because if you avoid taking hits, you can get resin, which will give you more health in future in the rest of the run. So if you don't die, you get more max. If you don't get hit, you take more. You can potentially get more maximum health on top of the adrenaline boost that you already have. And this is another mechanic the game has, where there's like kind of like this Soulsian thing where you can see where you can follow the last known coordinates of other scouts, other players who have died on this alien world. This one is named Jody's Girl, and we can either scavenge their corpse, which will consume either but guarantee a drop, or attempt to avenge them, which if we win the fight we will gain an item, but we'll also gain ether, which we can use in this or in future runs. We're going to try to avenge them, and that'll spawn the enemy that killed them. Usually a mid-boss monster. Holy shit. Okay, this was a bad choice. This is a very powerful enemy. We are probably going to die. Fire. So we made a bad choice. So this run is probably botched. We'll see how badly this fight goes. Where did he go? Where is he? There you are. Yeah, okay, okay, this is bad. This is not good. Yeah, we died. So we made a mistake. The person who tried to avenge was probably in one of the later zones, because that's not an enemy supposed to spawn in this zone. That happens.
I can do this.
But one of the cool things is that although death is not something you look forward to like it is in Hades, when you die, you go right to the next run. The game just automatically spawns you at the start of the level, and you just try again. There's almost no loading time whatsoever in that transition, which is one of the coolest things that this game does. Let's open this container. Hopefully it's a weapon. I like this one. This is actually one of the ones I like, which is one of the things that I actually don't I actually talk as a negative in this game is I don't want to keep ragging on or making the Hades comparison, but it's a very apt one. In Hades, when you start, you have your choice of weapon to spawn in. You just start the game with that weapon. That's the end of the conversation. Okay, this is not great. I was hoping for one of the easier ones to kill, but this is not the worst. Okay, I think we just lost this. We're just gonna start over. Here, where in Hades, you choose a weapon, you spawn in with that weapon, and that was the weapon you have for that run. In Returnal, you always start with the pistol. And if you don't like the pistol, which frankly I don't, I think it's a bad weapon, you have to find a new weapon in the run to replace the pistol with. And there's no way to curate what weapons will spawn in the middle of a run. So you can have runs, and I have had these runs, where you just, like, don't get a single weapon that you actually want to use. But you have to get something to replace your base weapon with because of the proficiency system. Basically, a weapon's stats are more or less fixed when it spawns in. But the way this game works is it has a proficiency system where there is that gauge below my health that fills up as I dispatch enemies. And once it fills up, I gain a level in proficiency, which goes from 1 to 30. Although in the first zone, you rarely get over 15. And proficiency basically means, like, the higher your proficiency, the more effective weapons are in the future. So when I see a weapon, when a new weapon spawns in, it will be a higher tier weapon if I have a high proficiency. It's something I had to actually, like, I think proficiency is not a great term for that phenomenon. Like, I might even rather just call it like an item level, so that's effectively what it actually realistically is. These are like your golden slime equivalents, where they just drop shit and they don't fight back. But your weapon proficiency is basically the quality of weapons that drop. And so you want to get that high up so that when you see a weapon, it is statistically better than it would be otherwise. And it's an appreciable difference between proficiency rate rankings. Weapons will just have more firepower, faster reload times, all of that, just depending on their proficiency rankings. Or the weapon rankings. So the game is kind of balanced around the idea of like you scavenging weapons as you play, but as you increase your proficiency, the weapons you scavenge are just better. Which means you're constantly trying to look for a better weapon than the one you have currently in the middle of a run. But that also means you don't get that that satisfaction in Hades of I am doing this run with the fists or the gauntlets, and that's the weapon I want to use for this run. This is the weapon I choose to use because I like using it. You don't get that in this game. You have to start with a pistol, and if you don't like it, tough. I don't want that downside. This is a parasite, which people who play roguelikes know this is the item that gives you a positive and a negative trait that you have for your character. Hey Kelly, welcome to the chat. I usually, right now, the hostiles leaving a pool of acid upon death, I don't like that, especially in a game where you get punished for getting hit even a single time. This is a bullet hell game, so I don't want that extra hazard if I can avoid it, and the malfunction probability reduction is not worth that trade-off, straight up. These are these malignant items. This is actually one of the cooler parts of the game. Is you can there are items that are malignant, and what that means is when you pick them up, there is a chance that they'll give you a negative side effect. It's not a guarantee. The item could whiff and just be net positive. Survive a killing blow attaches afterwards. That is worth getting no matter what the downside is. So we will take that extra life parasite. And so you see, I picked the limit item, and I now have the downside of cannot pick up new weapons. This is a sword that you get. It is an alien sword. It's a Xeno sword. They just call it. I think they just call it. Like, let me see. What is the name of this sword? Does it? I don't know if it's even in my inventory. It's just the thing you get. It's just a sword that you pick up on this world. But you see that perform melee kill 0 out of 3. If I fulfill that requirement, that downside will disappear. I will just no longer be beholden to that side effect, that status effect. It will be gone from my character. So the way you balance this is that if you can only have 2 of these malfunctions at any one time. If you pick up a third, it will destroy one of your passive bent boosts that you picked up on the run. So now we have that function removed. That malfunction is gone because we have done 3 melee kills. And a lot of the requirements aren't actually that hard to break, so it is often worth risking it for the potential downsides of a malignant item, because you can usually just cure it. So that is like one of the core like choices you have to make in this game, is whether or not to risk taking a malignant item in exchange for the potential benefits that they can confer onto your character. This is a better weapon than the pistol, so we are trading off. This is one of the 3 weapons I like. Like, in this game, there's a lot of weapons, and there's like 3 of them I like and 2 of them I'll tolerate, and the rest kind of suck. And I do wish there was a way to curate that list a bit better, but as it stands, I'll take what I can get. I'll take the risk. A parasite too. That weapon sucks. This is the missile launcher, and I have found I never do well with this weapon. Yeah, Kelly, it is the roguelike problem, where you just might not get a weapon. Like I was explaining before, I have had runs where I just get none of the weapons that I like, and those runs usually end in disaster. And that does happen. And that's something that I do miss from Hades, is that ability to curate your weapon pool by just choosing the weapon you want to start with, and then you just pick an upgrade path of that weapon. I respect that more, and I don't want to say this game is bad. Oh, okay, this is a good weapon. This is a good weapon. This is one of my favorites. This rapid fire weapon is one of my favorites, the Hollow Seeker. So we will be going with this. And I'm still ranked. Okay, that's a healing totem. Take care of that because it will actually heal the enemies. As you can see, this is a really good weapon. Unfortunately, like as I rank up, this will become less useful because there will be better stats on future weapons. That's like that's a downside of this game too, is that even when you find the weapon that you want, because your proficiency system means you are gaining, like the future weapons you get will just be better. You will often have to trade out the weapon even if you do like it, because it's just not doing the damage you need in the long run. Because that proficiency bar, remember the proficiency bar at the bottom left, when it fills up, it doesn't increase my skill with this weapon. It increases the power of future weapon drops. So this rank 1 proficiency means that weapons that drop will be of rank 1. It does not mean that I am better with this weapon. It means that the weapons that drop will be a higher rank. Hey, Mr. Gunny. And so that's a frustrating thing about this game, is that even when you get the weapon you want, you will often probably have to sub it out later on. Though usually, not always, but usually you will find a better version of the weapon you're playing with. So it's not always a bad thing. It's just one of those things you have to you have to watch out for when playing Returnal. This is one of the this is a good thing. Basically, this chamber, if I was damaged, it would heal me, but it also increases my max health, and that is almost always worth it. Occasionally, it will spawn enemies, but they're usually easy to kill, so not a problem. Thank you for hosting. This one of the good things this game does is, you might have seen this in this map. One of the cool things this game does is this triangle denotes a side path, and this square denotes the main path to progress. So without even going into the rooms, you will know for a fact if it's a room that you need to go through. Before you even look at it. Before you even go into it, you will know automatically if this is a detour or a that could give you potential items, or the main path. And that is a really cool little feature. Speaking of, I didn't notice that this is a portal over here. That circle over this one denotes that's a portal to the next zone. And that red gateway is a boss monster with the little Triforce symbol on it, which is definitely not copyright. So we're gonna actually take a little detour back, because I want to see which zone that teleports to. Because basically, as I explained before, once you beat the boss of a zone, you pretty much never have to fight ever again. You can skip the boss and go right to the next zone because you're given the portal item, the item to unlock the portal. That's a permanent upgrade. And once you get the right tools, you can skip from zone 1 straight to zone 3. So you can skip the grind of zone 2 and go right to the finale in future runs, which you might end up doing just to save. Ouch. That was a bad move. My adrenaline was not reset. Getting hit in this game hurts because you lose the adrenaline boosts. In this game, as you kill enemies, you get an adrenaline boost. Yes, Kel, you can skip the grind, and, actually, let's just go to Zone 2. This is the portal to Zone 2. Let's just go there. And, obviously, you're better off getting all of the items in a zone before moving on. But to compensate for the fact that you probably didn't do that, this pickup will scale your proficiency level up to a level that's appropriate for the zone you're in. So if you didn't grind your proficiency up the way you're supposed to, this pickup here will keep you at least damage-wise on scale. It won't give you any extra like buffs from artifacts. Or won't give you any extra buffs to your maximum HP. It will just make sure that your damage you're putting out is scaled appropriately to the zone you're in. I can't take these because I am currently under the effect of 2 malfunctions, and it's just not worth risking. But we will see what comes out of this fabricator. Because the in-lore reason is that you're not buying items, you're using the roguelikes to manufacture them, which is effectively the same thing as buying them, but whatever. These are 2 artifacts, they're just permanent stat buffs. Go back. Let's do a little bit of Zone 2. Which is this huge... Like, it's semi-open. The map isn't a fully accurate as to what is and isn't walkable zone, but generally it's pretty accurate. Let's see what these parasites have. That's useless to me. The downside of the money disappearing 1 second faster is not an appreciable downside, so we'll go for it. I have not played Risk of Rain. What has scared me off is, if I remember reading that in Risk of Rain there's a monster that follows you throughout the run, and you have to kind of outpace it. And that was kind of off-putting because I enjoy taking my time with a game. Which is both a good and bad thing. Like, in Returnal, a run can take a solid 3 hours. So that's a problem, especially when there's no way of saving in the middle of a run. So if you just need to take a break, your only hope is that you suspend and hope to God that there's not an update that resets the game while you're gone. That's a problem that they still have to address at some point. But that's a whole separate conversation. Like, if you are antsy about losing runs, this is definitely something you need to keep in mind, is that you more or less need to make sure that whenever you stop a run, you don't play any other games. Or make sure, well, even then, like, if you just get bad luck and an update happens that night, you just lose the run. It's gone. And that is a severe issue that is impacting a lot of people doing the game. I have not had that issue in my time, because I picked this game up fairly late, and a lot of the updates, they stopped doing as many updates. But the reports have been devastating. I'm getting hit left and right, and I don't like it. I'm not getting any adrenaline just right now. Alright, so there is a hidden switch there. So if I hit that switch, this opens up. And that is a better weapon, but it is the rocket launcher, and that weapon sucks, so we're not doing it.
It might be the oppressive heat, but I keep catching myself glancing over my shoulder, only to find shadows and the astronauts staring back. Whenever I try to reach them, I find myself in a
This is one of the cool things about the game. The little like the lore is that Celine, this astronaut, has crashed onto this alien planet, and she has to escape it. But as she travels it, she starts reading or finding logs that are ostensibly written by her, although she has no memory of ever writing these logs. And you encounter like copies of her, like the deceased players. Oh, I'm gonna probably die. This is not a great fight. This is gonna have a rank 1 a weapon. I haven't upgraded it since I spawned in the zone. This vial. Whew. And obviously you have some iframes when you dash, which will help you escape a couple of the worst troublesome attacks. Ouch. Alright, we barely won that fight. I don't want the fucking pistol, but no, it doesn't even do that much extra damage. It's not worth it. See, now I'm getting the problem where I actually not getting any of the weapons I want. So here's a good example of we scan this ghost, and it will lead us to one of Celine's corpses. Oh, we're not getting the some of these sometimes instead of getting one of these scouts that we can avenge or scavenge or ignore, you will get a more or less the scout will come back as a zombie that you have to kill. Yeah, fucking pistol. For beating like what's effectively a mini boss. That's a little obnoxious, but you know you make it. Active reload. Like I said, this is somewhat of a bullet hell game as well, where you have to kind of dodge a lot of really awkward enemy attack patterns, and it's doable. It's actually not as hard as it looks, because you do have the iframes when you dash, so a lot of it is just proper timing. Although later in zones 4 through 6, enemies start getting attacks that ignore your iframes. Yeah, there's an active reload. The game calls this mechanic overloading a weapon, but it is effectively active reload. And your first reward for adrenaline is a wider window for active reload. Let's see what the secrets hide here. Oh, this is just the upper floor of the secret place we were at previously. So let's see what's up here, if anything. Chesty chest. Okay, the carbine's a good weapon. This is a good weapon. We'll go with this. And that's kind of like, this is kind of like the way a run goes. What you want to do, ideally, is avoid taking damage, because you want to build up that adrenaline bonus. Because eventually what the later stage of adrenaline will do is they increase the rate at which you gain proficiency and money, which will come in handy as the run like lengthens. Oftentimes it's worth it just to empty the clip so you keep the active reload rather than letting the clip passively reload, because if you just do nothing, the gun will reload on its own. Sometimes it's better to empty out a clip out so you get the active reload going and save yourself some time and get some extra bullets pumped out. But the downside is that in this kind of like this bullet hell shooter, because you want that adrenaline boost, getting hit even a single time, even if it's not for that much damage, is often a pretty feels bad. Because you lose that wider active, like particularly you lose the active reload window, or it becomes smaller when you're at low adrenaline ranks, and that can be a killer. That can be a really devastating drawback. Because you want this wide window. This wide window makes it so much easier to get that active reload consistent. And the other benefit, but the benefit of getting max rank adrenaline is not only the extra money and proficiency, is that you get a shield, which will protect you from one single hit. And that means that when you get hit the first time, you don't lose adrenaline or health. You just lose the shield. And that is a very good incentive to get to max level adrenaline. If we get to a boss fight, I will show it off. But you are right, Kelly. The boss fights have basically no cover. It is just you and the boss, and you have to dodge their shots. And if you don't, tough luck. You die. Yeah, there's a lot of cover here that I'm taking advantage of to kind of keep my the amount of attacks I am able to take low. But in bosses, there is no cover. Straight up. It's just a bullet hell. You need to know when to dodge, you need to know the mechanics, and just get good. Damn it, I use keys. That stuff. So, I would be more eager to take this suffer damage when using Atropian keys. If that damage didn't come at the cost of my adrenaline. Because it is typical, like, it is taking a hit, you will lose the adrenaline if you do that. And that is almost never worth it. It is... Keeping the adrenaline high is almost always preferable to whatever the benefits are. So if you can avoid taking on that penalty, it's worth avoiding taking it on. So in previous runs, or my first time running this zone, I had to scale this up to the top of this mountain. But when you beat the boss the first time, you get... Let me just collect this treasure chest, see if it's worth it. I know it's worth my time. It's very worth my time. That gives me a shield when I get a resin. That's worth it. That helps keep the health up in a run. This portal opens up, which takes us right to the summit. So if we wanted to, we could either fight the boss, which I might do just to show it off, or we could proceed directly to the third zone over there. Because you get the grappling hook from this boss, which will let you go over there and unlock the third zone. Yes, that is a good question. This game does have upgrades that persist between runs. Like once you beat a boss and get the upgrade, that upgrade stays with you between runs. Like for example, when I beat the boss for this level, the mountain, I got the grappling hook, and even though I've died tons of times since fighting that boss, the grappling hook is attached to my character data. I just keep that between runs. And each zone has its own permanent upgrade that you acquire, just by beating its boss. Either an item that you proceed further, or a piece of equipment that lets you do something that lets you proceed further into the game. And that's why you don't. That's why the bosses after the first time are optional. Because once you have that upgrade, you have no reason to fight the boss again. I would never get that sidearm. That sidearm sucks. So this is the boss for Zone 2. I don't need to fight it, but because this is a quick run, I might as well show it off and show you what it's like. These can be kind of tough because they have a lot of health. So you see, like, there is virtually no cover here. It is all about knowing the pattern and dodging the pattern. And meanwhile, making sure you're doing consistent damage to the boss to avoid this going on for overly long. See, I just got hit, so I lost my shield. But my adrenaline is still up, so I still have that active reload. Ow! See, now I got hit. My reload is smaller. The window is more precise. Because I was putting in probably a little bit less damage. And now I'm getting pretty consistent with that. And those two shots didn't do too much damage. Stop moving, please. I would like to keep you moving. Oh! That was close. This game sadly does not have baby mode. This game does not. This game has one difficulty, and you will like it. And if the game is too tough for you, you're gonna have to deal with that. All right, so that's the first health bar down. You'll see once he spawns back in. Oh, okay. There we go. Now he's lost one health hit. And now we are on stage 2 of this boss. And each boss has the signature Miyamoto 3 stages. Oh my god, this is terrible. I'm doing terribly. That was awful. I forgot I hate this boss. Yeah, these bosses kind of suck. You notice that even when you're doing it correctly, they have a lot of health. Like, these guys are bullet sponges. And it feels like even with a good weapon, these bosses can take very long to kill. Especially for a game that is kind of otherwise very snappy and very twitchy in how you play it. I'm not even doing a lot of damage. Fucking hell. But they do a lot of damage to you if they hit you. I don't think I'm going to win this, but it's still worth showing off because this is honestly one of my actual gripes of the game. Like the things I've talked about like not getting a lot of story and when you like dreading losing a run. The weapons, not being able to use your weapons between runs, all of that. Those are all minor gripes at the end of the day. Like, they're things that you kind of expect of the genre. But these boss battles are actually a major problem. Especially when they do so much damage so quickly. In a game that is otherwise very twitch-based in how you react. Like a lot of the fighting here comes down to split-second reaction times. And just dashing at the right time to make sure that you are not getting hit by the projectiles that you otherwise would not be able to dodge. Might get that down to phase 3. Alright, we got down to phase 3, it looks like. Where are you? Don't shoot. What the fresh hell is this? Whoo! Oh, he's gonna start melee me, and that's gonna be a problem because I'm not great at dodging melee in this game. Ooh! Oh! Damn. There are, because there's so little equipment in this game, like there's nothing, they don't have the thing where you get the guppy in Isaac, for example. There is nothing the set bonus, at least not that I've seen in my time playing this game. And the bosses are thankfully, to answer both questions, Kelly, the bosses are not random. Each zone has a fixed boss associated with it, and that boss will never change. Meaning that, like, you can eventually, just through practice, get good enough to fight a boss. And that's the other thing that's really cool about this game that we talked about earlier when you weren't here. When you die, you immediately start another run. There is almost no loading time, which is one of the cool things about this game, is that you just you die, good, fine, whatever, do it again. They don't waste your time with like an overly long, drawn out death animation. You die and then immediately come right back into it. Because that is the conceit of this game, is that ever since crashing down on Atropos, when Celine dies, she comes right back to the scene of the crash. The, as she calls it, the eternal return. The Returnal. So, it doesn't have the Hades thing where you get that moment of, talking with all of your buddies, because there's no buddies. You're very isolated, purposely so. But oh, this is cool. This is the entrance to Zone 3. So we can skip Zone 2 entirely and just go right to the final zone right now. Because once you unlock the grappling hook, you can just skip. You can just do this. So we're just gonna go right into the third and final zone, which is honestly a terrible idea, because you don't want to start doing this until you've gotten a couple of upgrades. But 50 minutes left. Whatever. Let's do it. Yeah, this is a very mechanically focused game, so it is unlike Hades, where there's not a lot of story, which on some level you do kind of miss. See, now that since I didn't actually get a lot of proficiency in Zone 1, because I just got here, that upgrade got me up to proficiency 9, so that when I get a weapon that spawns, it won't be complete dog shit. It'll be actually usable. And the button for that door is over here. To take this way back. get this health. That said, if you do want to hang around in the hub world, you do get to read some of Celine's logs from her expedition, and those can be pretty cool. Alright, so I'm probably not going to be able to kill any of these with my level 1 pistol. I'm probably not going to be able to do much damage to this boy. And this is one of those self-destructing enemies that if it comes close to me, it will just blow up. Like that. Alright, there's a little secret if you just do this. One of the cool things is that since the different rooms are more or less fixed, once you uncover the secret of a given like room or layout, you can just use that knowledge in future runs to guarantee that you'll get whatever is in that zone. So you get a malignant key. Kill hostiles simultaneously. That is not probably gonna happen. And that'll open up one of these secret doors. That's useless. That's not great either. None of these are great. We're taking none of them. None of them are useful. Yeah, this has actually been a pretty good podcast game for me. Like, this has been a good game, or also when, like, because I work from home, like, when I'm at work and there's a little bit of downtime, and I need something to do that's not particularly taxing on my brain so that I can be alert when someone needs me. This is a good thing to pop in for like 10 minutes and do a little bit and then pause and then come back when you're ready. Oh, I missed the treasure chest over there. That's fine though. That's no, that's not fine actually because I need weapons. You need something that's not 14. This game does have more or less fixed points where items drop in rooms. Because you know where something drops. Okay, I guess I can't get that, or I just don't know how. Which I'm sure if I spent time there, I could figure it out, but I don't want to. Yeah, so once you know where things drop in rooms, it is easy to kind of just go and do it like in a rhythm kind of thing. Here in this room, my dash is disabled, so I have to actually jump. And time my jump well. Alright. That is a cool feature that I don't have the money to afford. Ouch. Maybe if I get the rest of the things. No, I still can't afford it. Even with everything. Let's double check just to confirm. Nah, 350. Shit. Well, that was a waste of time. And health. But that's the way it pans out in a roguelike, isn't it? Oh, shit. Okay. But, okay. You guys. These guys are not hard to fight one-on-one, but in groups they can become difficult. Woo! Woo! Okay. Because they ambush you from off-screen. You know when they attack because they glow yellow like that? Well, as I said, getting to the end in Zone 3, going right from Zone 1 to 3 without getting some upgrades first. It's a recipe for disaster, and that explains why. But I am actually overall really liking this game. It's just once you play Hades, it's really hard to go back to the classic roguelike, because the classic roguelike doesn't have a lot of the convenience features that you really want from Hades. I'm not even talking about the story, although that's part of it. Just talking about the little, like, the minor conveniences, like being able to choose your weapon, being able to curate your pool. Because while Hades doesn't let you curate what you drop necessarily, because you're able to pick between 3 options whenever something drops, that is effective curation, even though it's not actual curation, because you're out of 3 options, you're choosing the one that is best for you. And you really don't have that kind of thing in Returnal. Like, when something drops, there's no, like, choice of 3 different effects. It's either the one effect or you don't pick it up at all. And that's the end of the conversation. That's not bad. That's just something that, it's not ideal. It's not what I would rather it be. Yeah, exactly, Kelly. Hades did a lot of honestly really minor things to alleviate the frustrations that are inherent to the genre ordinarily. And when you go back to things that are contemporaries of the genre, you feel that absence. And that's not Returnal's fault. Necessarily. That is just the truth of being a roguelike in the year of our Lord 2021. That's just the way it is these days. That's how it be. Because I have the upgrade that lets me submerge myself in water, I can do this. Because up until you get that, like, water will hurt you. So that there are those permanent upgrades that you do get that do improve your future runs. That's useless. Sure, let's see. No, we don't. Yeah, like it could be a lot worse, and to Returnal's credit, it does a lot. Like this is not an unfun game to play. This is a very comfortable game. I've had fun playing this game. I think the merger of, like, roguelike with bullet hell works very well here. It's not perfect, but it's a strong take on the genre. And that said, it's also a $70 game. And when you are competing directly against the likes of Hades, that $70 is... that's a painful price. Like, I have a lot of disposable income, so I wasn't averse to that price, but someone who's more budget conscious, I can't imagine, like, if you have the choice of all the roguelikes in the world, to choose this at that $7 price point, that seems a little absurd. That seems not a little, very absurd. But for what it is, if you don't factor in that price point, this is a good game. Let's see if we get the actual reanimated corpse this time. And I've been avoiding spoilers because deliberately, but I do like this game's story and lore. I think, okay, here we go. Yeah, sometimes you get this where the corpse will just reanimate, and every time it gets hit by one of your attacks, it will shoot a counterattack at you. I wish I had streamed this before I gotten far, because when you do it, when you play initially, one of the cool things is that Celine, because she's an astronaut, she'd be logging her adventures, like talking about how one of her corpses came back up, or talking about how she encountered hostile life. Like, and that's really cool. You don't really get that since I've already beaten the entire story. I hate this gun. This gun sucks. But I do overall like this game. We didn't finish a run the way I knew we wouldn't, because, again, a successful run in this game, like, I have had runs that took upwards of 2 to 3 hours. Which, ordinarily that wouldn't be a problem, because, like, ordinarily you would be able to save runs. But like, the thing that will really hamper this game in the long term, unless there's something about it, is the fact that you can lose a good 2 to 3 hour run. Like, it's a very real use case where you have to step away, or for me it was I have a 2 hour run. I want to make progress, but I have to go to work tomorrow, so I have to go to bed now. If I had the next day woken up, tried to resume my run, and the run was just gone because there was an update overnight, I probably would have just hung in the towel. Because that, like, losing 2 hours of work for something that was not your fault, something that was something that you couldn't possibly control for, that's a frustration that is difficult to get past, no matter how good the game is otherwise. So, if this game wants to take off, I think that's an issue that they're going to really need to eventually address. Because otherwise, like, I have heard many people swear off this game because they had the run that was really great, and an update happened overnight, or they switched games, and they just lost that run. But other than that, other than, like, the many little nitpicks, the actual mid-game play of shooting, collecting resources, dodging bullets, that's all a ton of fun. I enjoy that part of the game. I enjoy the actual act of playing the game itself. It's a lot of these little things that will bring it down ultimately, especially with that $70 price tag. That's extreme. And that's just kind of the way the world works. It's sad, because I would want people to play this game, you know, in the hypothetical world in which PS5s were easily available, and you'd have that as the obvious blocker as well. This would be a great recommendation if it weren't for that price point and the save issue. But that's the way it be. And I'm going to probably wrap up there. And if I have any extra thoughts, I will add it to the written post that will go along with this when this goes up to YouTube. So until next time, we're going to continue Resident Evil Village on Sunday. I'll bring David in. Oh wait, no, you probably won't, because Sunday's E3. So I actually probably won't be available. So probably next Sunday I'll do that. I'm not sure what we'll do the Wednesday afterwards. So we'll figure something out. But until next time, wear your mask still. I know if you're vaccinated, they say not to wear it, but do it anyway. Wash your hands. Speaking of the vaccine, get it. It's free in America. Probably where you live too. I don't know. Whoever's watching this in the future. Get it. It will save your life and probably the lives of the people around you as well. Not probably, definitely save the lives of people around you as well. Black Lives Matter, Trans Lives Matter, Stop Asian Hate, and all lives cannot matter until Black, trans, and Asian lives matter. I think that's all I got to say. Until next time, bye! Bye!